That was so weird. Can you hear me all right?
Oh, yeah, real good.
Did everything come through all right? I was, like I said, I'm streaming from. Oh, damn it. There we go. Sorry. I'm streaming from multiple devices here and we're fighting some tech difficulties. I queued up the stream on my computer, but I hope it or the intro, I hope it came up all right because I heard it was completely muted and blacked out on my screen. So let's hope, it's a little bit interesting. I came home and had some unexpected visitors that I wasn't planning for. So we're streaming from a phone and a backup computer for an IDP mock draft that we could not host on Sleeper because Sleeper doesn't add in the IDP rookies till like August. So we are doing it on a Google Doc or a Google Sheet today, and we're gonna wing it. We got 3 rounds. I've got 36 players here. If we find someone who's not on the list that we'd like to add, we'll add them as we go. I think I just grabbed the top 36 by my current rankings. That's not to say that there was someone I added in who I completely forgot, but hopefully that was only one. But before we get into it, welcome to the Mad Science Lab podcast on the Fantasy Football Universe. I am Aaron St. Dennis. You can find me on Twitter at FFMadScientist. Joined today by Steve Hungarter. I can't talk tonight. I can't have tongue-tied tonight. How's it going, Steve? You want to introduce yourself?
Good. Thanks for having me. There's not enough IDP in this world, so we have to attack this tonight and show the audience what we have.
Yeah, well, we're off to a great start. As I said, I'm really having phone issues here. I've got my phone propped up on a pop can and something else, and it's got the light behind. It's just not funny, but like I said,
they appreciate the effort. You know they do.
Yeah, I was hoping to do one of these, and then I realized we couldn't host it on Sleeper, but me and you are going to get through this regardless. It's tough to get more people because we're not on Sleeper. So what we are going to do is we're just going to take turns alternating picks here. You go one, I go one, and we'll go through the 36. Like I said, if we get to a point where someone pops up on your list that you want that is not on here, let me know and I'll add them in. I'm color coordinated a bit here. I've got your defensive linemen here. I think there's 15. There are 12 defensive backs, and I think there's only 7 or 8 linebackers because I'm not in love with this linebacker class as far as IDP rankings go, so you may add some there. I've further broken them down here by colors. I've got green and yellow for inside or outside linebacker, orange and red for cornerback or safety, and blue and teal for defensive end or tackle. So
I like it.
I guess before we get into it, you want to take a second to introduce yourself and tell everyone where they can find you?
Yeah, I'm Steve Hungarter. I'm over at the Fantasy Six Pack. I'm a writer over there. I do ECR rankings. I also do the waivers, and I also write articles over at IDP Guys. My handle is IDP Hunter. So if you guys ever have any questions out there in the audience or you ever want to just kick it, usually at night, Aaron knows we're on there looking up, trying to scout players, what have you. Just send me a message, IDP Hunter.
All right. Thank you for joining me. We're going to, this is our first one, so we're going to try and get our way through it. I'm going to let you have the first pick as the guest. Who would you like as your 101?
Now, Aaron, I don't know about you, but this IDP class, it's probably one of the weaker ones I've seen in a while. I'm going to say go back all the way to 2021. It's a little watered down. Not really too interested in too many players. You already alluded to the linebackers. I think we feel the same. I do like this edge class.
I should mention, though, before you make your pick, we're just going basic standard settings here. Nothing, no bonuses for anything. We're just assuming your normal rosters. Like I said, I have it divided into subclasses, but let's just assume it's DL, DB linebackers. This isn't a deep IDP, where you have it split into individuals and then there's tackle bonuses and this and that. This is going to be your basic standard run-of-the-mill IDP league and scoring settings with the normal rosters for our first run-through. So have at it based on just your standard IDP.
Excellent. I'm going to give you a little intro leading up to some of these guys here. Again, the edge class to me is amazing. I actually got two guys. I can go 2 guys here, to be honest. I'm going to give you I'm just going to try to shake it up a little bit here. This guy here, if he would have came out last year, was a top 12 pick, easy, hands down. He had comparisons to Will Anderson and Boye Mafe. Instead, he decided to go back to school. He's a fifth-year player, and in that 5th year, he compiled 9 sacks, 14 QB hits, and 35 hurries. So for my number 1 pick, I'm going to give you Jared Verse.
Yeah, I like the defensive ends in this class. I also like the cornerbacks, but that seems like a pretty
Oh,
solid
I'm
pick.
glad you said that.
Who
Yeah,
who
I
was your
like the
backup?
corners too. Oh, good. Sorry.
Oh no, I was saying we're not gonna do this like the normal mock draft where we're trying to snipe each other. We want to kind of talk it through. So you said there was 2 number 1 picks for you. Let's see if
Yeah,
you have
I
the
would
same
have
number
went.
1 pick. Who was the next guy
I
for
would have
you?
went Dallas Turner or Jared Verse to me. Those are my either or. Depending, Verse has more of an uptick since recently, Senior Bowl trending, all that stuff. People have been on him a lot more. So I'm going up paddle with a canoe here. So I'm going to take Verse.
Oh, see, that's interesting for me. I also had Laitu Latu in here. I liked him.
I got
I
him
was kind of
3. I got him
yeah.
3. You're
I
not
have
wrong.
him
You're not wrong.
2.
A common strategy is to get that third pick and just kind of wait it out and see which one falls. But for me, I'm getting one of those edges.
Yeah, see, for me, I'm kind of torn. I like Dallas Turner as well, but I think I like Latu better. So you might get your 1 and 2 off the board with your third pick here. You might get both guys you wanted.
I will draft you any day, sir.
You're welcome. All right, so it's on you. I assume he is your third.
Yeah, Dallas Turner, really, really nice pick there. Depending on how you want to look at it, he could be your number 1. Some setups have that already. So, not a lot of analysis I really need to make there. But, all 3 of those guys, Verse, Turner, Alatu, they're probably going to be the number 1 in our picks. And I'm going to take it a step further, Aaron. I think in the NFL draft, I think 2 of those guys will probably go in the top 10. I think. We'll see.
Yeah, for me, I agree. I think that's your definitive first tier here, which is kind of where it gets interesting. I think those are your first 3 off the board, guaranteed in IDP leagues. From here, it gets tougher for me. I think it switches to corner, but see, I probably do not have the same corner here as you. Who do you have at 4?
I'm not going corner for a little bit.
Oh, really?
I
Okay.
actually don't have. I have a corner at 1.7. That's as early as I go. You want to know what corner I have one?
Yes. What was your 107?
I have Cooper DeJean just because of the kick
Yeah,
return
okay.
value.
That's who I was taking, Cooper DeJean. Yep. I thought
Yeah,
you were
most
gonna go
people
with
got it the other way.
yeah. Yeah. That's who's gonna be my pick. It's not who I thought you would take, and I agree. I think most people would have him more like the 106 or 7, but that's my pick there. That's who I've been
Who'd
on
you
all
think I
along.
was going to take?
I don't know. I just normally everyone want Quinyon Mitchell or Arnold or McKinstry or
Arnold.
Wiggins, anyone but the
Most
one I
people
said.
do. Yeah, I got Cooper DeJean. How do you say it? DeJean or Dijon? I'm terrible
I say
with these names.
Dijon, but Dijon.
But yeah, I got him at 1.7 value. That's how I've been kind of looking at him.
All right, who do you want at 105?
All right, at 105. Good question. So now we're at 105. What I'll do is you took a corner there, assuming this is just regular scoring and settings.
It is.
I kind of want to drain the hole as much as I can with the defensive back, or not defensive backs, with the safeties and linebackers. That's just kind of how I play. That's kind of how I want to do it. So in here, I have a couple options. I'm gonna go take it. I'm gonna go one more round with you since it's just us 2. I'm gonna go the consensus DL4, and I don't necessarily like this pick, but I'm going with the consensus here. Okay. Yep. This guy plays like Tarzan. Looks like Tarzan, acts like Jane. Okay. There is a lot of tape on him that's not very good, but I'm going to take him as my 4th linebacker off the board, and that's Chop Robinson.
Chop Robinson. Okay, that's not.
I don't feel good about it. I don't feel good about it, but if I'm going down the board and I'm taking off defensive linemen, that's who I'm going to take. Simply because everybody's in love with this guy. Let me just go down the board and take him off.
Did you have another defensive lineman in mind besides him if you hadn't gone with him?
I actually have a couple in mind. I don't feel good about him as my 4, but I have another guy who is similar to. Well, we'll put it like this: I got an underachiever at 4, and I got an overachiever that could be 4. So,
well, was the guy I just took who you were looking at? I went with Jerzan Newton.
Newton, I have at 5. Believe it or not, that was my consensus defensive tackle. But yeah, Newton is one of those sexy picks too to me. People don't like defensive tackles, but you can literally just snap that in place, and you don't have to worry about playing one ever again. You know. But no, I got DL still, and I'm going down the board on them. You know.
All right. Well, it's back to you to go down the board on them.
Okay, since we're gonna keep going DL, you see that's what I'm kind of trying to do. I'm trying to take all the good DLs off the board and what have you. So let's go ahead and do this. Let's go to the well a couple more times here. I'm gonna take Chris Braswell as my DL. What is this, 5 now? We're on.
Yep. Alabama. Yep.
Yeah, Braswell. I mean, he got 13 sacks. He brought pressures in 20% of the time. 20% of the time, he's got all the tools. A lot of these guys don't really have the consistency, but give him a team, give him time, get him coached up. Chris Braswell is right there with the best of them. That's who I would take.
I'm kind of torn here. I think I'm going to go a little spicy here. I don't know I think it's too early, but I'm going to take my linebacker 1 off the board, even though I think I'm probably I think I should probably be waiting and doing this at 10, but I'm going to take Edgerrin Cooper out of Texas A&M right now.
Okay.
That's my number 1. Is that your number 1 linebacker, or you got someone else?
A lot of people have Cooper as number 1. I have him as my number 2 at the moment.
Who's your number 1?
A lot of people have him your number 1, and I'm not knocking it. The only thing that bothers me with Cooper, he's got a lot of missed tackles, and that's something he's gonna have to clean up next level.
Who do you have at 1 then for linebacker?
That'll be my next one coming off. I'm going to give you Peyton Wilson. He runs a 4.5 speed. He's a 4-star recruit. His player comp is Troy Anderson. He's had injuries. I think it was his knee and shoulder 2021, but that was 2021. 716 snaps, 67 stops. He's going to be some team's green dot somewhere, and they're going to get him cheap in some round somewhere. But that's my number 1 this year.
I am going to take with my next pick the only defensive lineman I really think I like all that much. I think there's a big drop-off here. I'm going to go with Braylon Trice out of Washington.
Nice.
After that, I might shift away from the DL pool a bit here. I think it gets a little bit weaker. Okay, who do you got?
So I was actually going to take Trice, and I was going to see where you went.
Yeah, I took Trice.
So that was an excellent pick. And you're right. It does trickle down after this. But there is one more player that people aren't paying attention to. This guy rised at the Senior Bowl. I had to pay attention to him because I didn't know the name. He's kind of an underachiever, but when you look at his tape, not really. He's 6'5", 280. How can you be a sleeper and you're 6'5"? He played at Missouri. His sack numbers, he has 13 sacks, 8.5 for last year alone.
You going Robinson here?
Who?
Robinson?
You got him. Let me give me another Robinson. Bring him on down. I got him as my DL8. Some guys, especially over at IDP guys, they swear by him. But I'm going to take him here just because of his standout play.
All right. I don't mind it. Like you said, Senior Bowl riser.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is where it gets interesting because I'm going to pivot to another position. I'm between a linebacker here. I like either Jeremiah Trotter, but I think my pick is going to be Tyler Nubbin, safety out of Minnesota.
Nice.
That's who I'm going with here to end out round 1. So before we move on, we have to recap round 1 at 101. We have Jared Verse, defensive end. Letu, I hate trying to say that name. Another defensive end. Third straight defensive end in Dallas Turner. Cornerback Cooper DeJean. Another defensive end, Chop Robinson. So 4 of the top 5 are D ends. Jerzan Newton, a tackle. We have Chris Braswell, another defensive end. So what's that? 5 of 7 to start our
Yeah.
defensive ends. Excuse me. Then we went back-to-back linebacker in Edgerrin Cooper and Peyton Wilson. Back to the defensive end well with Braylon Trice and Darius Robinson. And we round out the first round with Tyler Nubbin, a safety. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 defensive ends and 1
Amazing.
defensive tackle. So 2/3 of the first round is defensive linemen, which is
crazy, right?
Typically, I think you'll see my cheat sheet over here on the side if I scroll over to it. That's how I go. I go DL, then linebacker, then DB, because I that's my explanation over here. So let me scroll over a bit. This is always how I roll in my leagues. DLs are the running backs. They're the most valuable. Linebackers are your wide receivers. You can get great value late. And the DBs are your tight ends. That's kind of like how I remember it. That was my little cheat sheet when I started. And then I broke it down. The D ends are more valuable than the tackles. I'd rather have an insider than an outside for a linebacker. And I'd rather a safety than a corner. So that's my little cheat sheet that I've been using for my IDP drafts ever since I started. So it's no surprise here that we see 8 out of 12 picks are defensive linemen. So
I feel good about that. I mean, that's what I think it's going to be. We're going to have a good run on defensive linemen or edge guys. Yeah.
Well, it is up to you at the 201.
Well, I just want to compliment my best friend here, my new best friend who just left me the player I want at 2.1. So thank you very much, sir. And I'm going to take the guy who has family ties to the NFL. He has the DNA. His father was the great linebacker of the Eagles. He just might get a chance to play for the same team. In NFL drafts, he's slipping, but this class of linebackers expect to be day 2 selections anyway. Okay? Little background on my player if you haven't guessed it yet. He had forced fumble. He had 3 of them, and he had 3 multiple All-American selections. The knock on Jeremiah Trotter has been he's a bit shorter and he's got smaller arms. But guess who else had shorter and smaller arms? Ivan Pace Jr. Yeah, his dad, Ivan Pace Jr., though, just very recently, if you look at the modern day NFL, these guys are coming out a little lighter. So I'm sick of that comparison when people bag them that they're too small. Look at all the top linebackers right now in the NFL. Most of them are between 225, 235 anyway.
Yeah, one sec. I'm just looking. Oh, I'm sitting here and I'm trying to debate my next pick while you're explaining yours. And I'm going, okay, who do I take? I'm like, I don't want to take my Michigan guy here and just be a homer. But I'm like, did I forget to include Peyton Wilson? Nope, you took him last round.
Yeah, I took him. I'm trying to keep up myself. Yeah, that's funny you said that.
That makes my pick easier because I was debating between Peyton Wilson and Junior Colson. And I didn't want to be a Michigan homer, but you took Peyton Wilson 5 picks ago. So Junior Colson out of Michigan is my pick. So we've seen 3 in a row that were not defensive linemen. So your description there of Jeremiah Trotter was very, very wonderful, though. I had it halfway through. I was like, I'm going to scroll over and assume he's talking about Trotter and add him to my list here. And then I'm like, I'm going to look really stupid if I added that as his pick and he's talking about someone else. But
oh my goodness,
you're up on the board again at 103.
Yeah, this is real good. I'm not a big fan of my Chop Robinson pick, but I had to if I wanted to drain the defensive lineman, because look where we're at right now. Other than that, I'm kind of enjoying this draft. I'm looking at the board and I'm looking at the runs at position, and I'm going to go back to safety. There's a guy in this draft class. He's a hard hitter. He's a thumper. That's really all people need to know about him. He's a center field kind of player. He can play both strong safety, free safety, but when he hits you hard. He's really good in coverage, especially man coverage. Give me Cameron Kitchens, the safety out of Miami.
I love when I can read your mind, and I had the players selected when you said he's a hard-hitting thumper out as a safety. I'm like, this is a Cameron Kitchens pick. I had him highlighted. I had him already cut and ready to go. I'm like, he's going Kitchens here. So
I'm like that old man on the porch just rambling away. He's like, I already know the pick. Come on, just spit it out, Steve.
No. I'm glad. I love that you do that. I got a few words in it. I'm like, oh, I know where he's going with this. But I am going to head back to the defensive tackle for probably the last D lineman that I want for a while. Ooh, and it's going to be Byron Murphy out of Texas.
Good for you. Yeah, I like me some Byron Murphy. I really do. Secretively, everyone's talking about this edge class. This defensive tackle class, it's a good depth. There's a lot. We can go probably 10, 15 players deep, but a lot of them have, consistent question marks. I don't know if you know about Byron Murphy, but PFF had him. He led with pass rushes. He was like the number one guy with that. So that's a good pick.
You know what I didn't see coming? We're 16 picks in, and we have more linebackers taken than defensive backs. We have one corner taken, and I like this cornerback class. I thought we were going to have more taken in the middle of the first. I feel like we've got to have a run on corners here, because I feel like the next best 5 players are all corners. So I believe it is you. Oh no, it's your pick. So who's your next pick?
Yeah, and I was actually going to take a corner here, and you already know, you can read my mind which one out of Alabama that I was going to take.
Oh no, see, I'm torn here. I like Kool-Aid, but I think you might be talking Arnold.
No,
I think you hit mute. Did you mute yourself? I can't hear you. One sec, guys. Let me check. It says you're muted. Let me unmute. Can't unmute a guest. Their mic isn't connected, it says. It says your mic got disconnected.
Oh, I got excited. I hit the unmute. I'm sorry.
There you go.
No, you were saying Arnold on this.
Are you okay?
He's most people's number one. And it all depends on how you look at this. But outside corners with a propensity for high tackles, slot usage, there's probably value for that in the future. And it's rumored right now, whichever corner the Vikings are probably thinking about, they might even move him to safety. So if he ends up going to a team like that, he might even play in safety next level. So maybe that's where I go. I'd go Arnold with this one.
Oh, and there's one. I don't know how I didn't get him in here. I left Tommy Eichenberg off. What is he? Outside or inside? Do you remember off the top of your head? Eichenberg at Ohio State?
Yeah, I
don't remember.
Yeah, I have it. Hold on. Give me 1 second. He's a box linebacker, so he's inside.
Yeah. I was just looking and I'm like, did I forget Eichenberg? So
are you taking him here?
No.
Okay.
I was starting to look. He was starting to be someone I was considering, but then I looked and I said, he's not even on my damn board.
Yeah, a couple picks from now, I was looking at him, but yeah, he's a box LB. Well, we'll wait. We'll wait till he comes up. I like where you're going with this.
I think, I said I didn't think I was going to take a defensive lineman for a while, but the next 2 highest on my board are both D linemen. I'm deciding between Tavondre Sweat and Leonard Taylor, and I think I'm going to go Leonard Taylor.
Good for you. I love that one. Leonard Taylor's a bull in a china shop. He was a 5-star recruit. The only reason I got him so low, he plays zero tech. There's not too many teams that play nose guard anymore. Maybe the New York Giants. But yeah, he's on my board. I love the mock draft I did in IDP, guys. You took all 3 of my defensive tackles.
Nice. All right. Well, who is your pick here?
Did I
have that right? I just added Jalen Ford as well. You got him as an outsider?
Oh yeah, I actually do. Yeah, I have here, I'll tell you what. I have Ford as an outsider, and then I got a guy named Tyron Hooper, another outsider out of Missouri.
Okay, you're up then.
Okay. Yeah, I'm looking at the board. We're kind of going through it. I want to take off another safety here. Really between my 3 and my 4, it's dealer's choice. But I'm gonna give you Bullock on this round. Kalen Bullock out of USC. Both. I'll save it for the next pick. But anyway, he's an aggressive ball hawk with top end speed. Tall, little lengthy athlete. That's kind of like the profile you see nowadays with safeties. Tall, lengthy, long arms. I can see him being a good free safety type.
My next pick, I'm drawing a blank on because I can't remember where he went to school. Javon Bullard. Fill in the blank
I
for
couldn't
me.
do it. Damn it.
You can't remember either. Where did he go to school?
Which one? Bullard, you said?
Yeah, Javon Bullard.
Bullard went to Bullock went to USC. So
Yeah.
Bullard went to Georgia. Javon
Did
Bullard.
he? Okay, that's
I
it.
always get
Okay.
those two confused. So
Me
it's
too,
funny
and
you
that's why
said that.
when you picked him, I'm like, damn it. Okay, so he went to USC. Where did Bullard go? And then I wrote it in late last minute, and I couldn't remember. So, all right, you're back up at 109. We got back-to-back safeties here.
Too funny.
Up to you.
Okay, I'm going to go back to the linebackers. Just because we're starting to get a little interesting. We're starting to like cut each other off a bit. I'm going to give you Cedric Gray. He's 6'3", 235 pounds. He is a tackling machine. You know, in 2022, he actually had 146 tackles. 121 of those tackles were on 880 snaps. I'm sorry, 121. There was 80 solos, 31 assists, and 54 stops. So in his whole entire college career, he racked 368 tackles and 8.5 sacks. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're like, then why did you wait so long to take Cedric Gray? Well, I'm going to tell you, he's not the type of player I usually draft. He's got 4.7 speed. Ideally, if a guy doesn't get 4.6 or higher, usually they're not going to be a 3-down player on the field. You know, I don't know how they're going to employ him next level, but he is an impact player. And, you know, this linebacker class, we're dwindling it down. So let me go ahead and go Cedric Gray.
Yeah, that's actually who I was going to go with, but you took him, so I went to Vondre Sweat. I went back to the tackle, so that's where I went. Who do you want after Sweat at 211?
So I got to tell you a story, and you're never going to guess this player, okay? He's a box linebacker from Ohio State. His name rhymes with Schmeckenberg, okay? He's an old school. He looks like one of these old school, back in the old day kind of football players, you know, high floor. Not really flashy. He's got a high IQ. Okay. The guy, some rankers have him as a top 4, believe it or not. I'm not that high in him, you know, being he's a little bit slower. But again, 2023 season, he had 80 tackles, 40 being solos, 40 being assists. That's as consistent as you get. 40 solos, 40 assists. And then the year before, he had 120 tackles. So him and Gray had 200 tackles season. 200 tackles in 2 seasons. So give me Tommy Ecklenberg here.
My pick was cornerback Quinyon Mitchell out of Toledo. I know it was funny because out of the players I was deciding between, all 4 of them were cornerbacks. So I think my next few picks are going to be corner. I just went Mitchell. I know he went to the smaller school than Kool-Aid and Wiggins, but my pick was Mitchell. I like the upside there more. What do you got? Actually, let me recap here. At 201, we have Jeremiah Trotter. 202, Junior Colson. 203, Cameron Kitchens. 204, Byron Murphy. 205, Terrian Arnold. 206, Leonard Taylor. 207, Kalen Bullock. 208, Javon Bullard. 209, Cedric Gray. 210, Tavondre Sweat. 211 is Tommy Eichenberg. And 212 is Quinyon Mitchell. Back to you at 301.
Okay, 301. Let me see if you can guess this player, okay? The son of a former NFL player, okay? This guy played for both the Panthers and the Jets, okay? He's one of those players, defensive tackle outside the top tier, but at 6'3", 307, he's a great run stopper for the Wolverines. He led the nation in run stops. He only played 13 games, led the nation in run stops. He achieved 27 tackles and 15 pressures. The most important thing here is the Senior Bowl. He played at the Senior Bowl. He didn't have to, but he played, right? He profiles as the type of player that is going to get a lot of buzz because of his dad's name, because of his name. They have the same name going forward. Did you figure it out?
Yeah, I'm a Michigan guy. I got it 10 seconds ago. It was
Chris Jenkins. Yeah.
Chris
I'm
Jenkins.
a terrible hinter. Yeah.
Yeah, no. Well, no, I'm a Michigan guy, so I knew who Jenkins was. He was the lone guy I think I want out of that D lineman pool left.
Right.
I'm left here deciding between Wiggins and McKinstry. I think I'm going Wiggins, but I don't feel strongly about it. I think it's a coin flip for me. Those were my next 2 picks. Either way, I think they both get first-round draft capital, late first-round draft capital. But who do you got next?
Yeah, there's that's actually interesting. believe it or not, I'm gonna go. I don't think he was taken. Oh wait, yeah, you did. You took Sweat, didn't you? Huh?
Yeah, 210.
I didn't see it. Okay, I didn't see you do it. Okay, believe it or not, I'm gonna go. Let me try to hit this well a couple more times. I'm gonna go defense. Do I want to? Actually, hold on. Let me play devil's advocate here. I'm gonna give you a name. Let's do one more defensive end here. Let's go. You got me thinking, Aaron. Hold on a minute. That's never good when I'm thinking, right? Let me go Jonah Ellis. Jonah Ellis is one of those guys before all the draft buzz that everyone was all happy and excited about. He's got a couple warts on him, but it's a third round pick for me. Okay, let me explain. Jordan Ellis a little bit. So Jordan Ellis, he actually got all of his buzz. He was a top 5 defensive lineman a lot of the year. Scouts had him high because he had a 2-game stretch where he was just destroying people with 5.5 sacks, 7.5 tackles for loss. The issue with him is a lot of his stats came out of that game. You know, he ended up with 26 hurries on the season, 13 sacks. But Jonah Ellis is probably in most people's top 10, or he's on the bubble. And, like I said, he'll probably play edge or defensive end next level.
And with that pick, this is an easy one for me. I'm taking the other corner that fell to me. And to be honest, if you don't take any of them, I may finish out the round by just drafting strictly corners. There's only one non-corner left on this board that I really want, unless I go back to the drawing board and write in some more guys. I think there's one guy I left off the board out of Penn State. I'd like to add Adisa Isaac, but other than that, I think we're pretty solid. So after my Kool-Aid pick, who are you going with at the 305?
You took Wiggins as well, right?
Yeah, 302.
Yeah. So you went a little bit earlier than I do, on corners, but all of those guys are great picks. All of those guys are.
I've drafted 4 of the 5 corners, so you see, I like this corner class.
And I don't blame you. I usually wait a little bit, but yeah, I was right behind you. There's a safety, Jaden Hicks, out of Washington State. Do you have him on your list? I don't see him.
He's right here.
Okay, 6'3", 212. He produced 83 tackles, 2 sacks, 2 interceptions. You know, PFF loves this guy, and it could be the data hasn't caught up to it yet. I don't know, but I've been getting him a lot in like 3rd, 4th rounds. He's one of those guys, he does well with verticals and stuff, so I expect him to be a combine breakout. But he's on a lot of our lists lower, and he probably is my last. No, actually, I got one more. Top 10 defensive back for you coming up later on. He's a bit of a sleeper, but yeah, this is probably my last one on that list because you sniped all the good ones.
I'm getting into a real no man's land here where I don't particularly care for any of these guys left. I've got 1 or 2 where I don't mind them. The guy I'm highest on out of all the ones left would be Missouri cornerback Ennis Rakestraw Jr.
Nice.
And that's who I'm going with here. It's not a great pick, but I think it was either for me, it was either him, Lassiter, or Tampa. I don't really want any of the linemen left. I don't mind Maris Leafau. I fucking can never say his name. The guy at Notre Dame. I don't mind him, but I think for me, it's down to the corners here. So that leaves the 307 up to you.
Yeah, now this is where you can kind of start taking your shots, like, oh, I got this sleeper here, I got that sleeper here. So it's kind of an interesting class. You said a couple of these names earlier, so let me just get the guy I kind of like off the board. There's a guy named this guy's name is Tyron Hooper out of Missouri. Most people don't know who this is, but Hooper was named one of the 5 finalists for the Butkus Award. The Butkus Award honors the top linebacker in the country. Okay. He made national spotlight when he was he had 10 friggin' tackles against Georgia. Georgia's a good team. We all notice. He's just a blip on most people's radars, but you can get him in the 3rd and 4th round because people aren't paying attention.
And that was where my next pick was. You said Georgia.
Oh,
I was going with Kamari Lassiter. It's funny that we said that the linebacker class was really dominating there for a while. We had a ton of linebackers go early. It's funny because it looks like linebacker has the most left. We really had a few go off the board, and then we've hit a dry spell up until your Hoopa pick.
We are on the same mindset, and we're probably after the same players in here because there are names. There's a lot of guys that were highly touted. Yeah.
I only really want 2 guys left on the board, so let's see
I
if you'll
think
take
they're
them with
my
your
2
2
guys.
picks. You're
Let's
up
see
next.
what you do. Let's see what you do. You know what? I'm going to take the one that I think you want because I'm that guy, and I'm going to see if my second one is your guy, okay?
Yep.
Okay, so I'm going to go Jalen Ford out of Texas, okay?
That was not my guy.
Okay, fair. So he's compared with they gives player comps to Pete Warner. That's kind of his game. 63 tackles, 45 stops. You know, he shadows slot receivers well, but he's probably going to be a hybrid next level because he doesn't really give you anything else more. So when you're scouting him, look at things like a Will or a Mike linebacker. Some teams are going to take a shot here with him in later rounds. But yeah, I'll give you Jalen Ford there.
Yeah, no, the guy I was looking for was TJ Tampa, cornerback out of Iowa State.
Oh, okay.
He was one of the only 2 I wanted left on the board. Let's see with your last pick if you sniped the only guy I was taking.
No, I'm going. This guy, I guess, has sentimental value to me. This guy here, this is more of a joke or a punchline. Not really anything that that you might not really decide to take in the last round. So I'm just going to tell you a story, okay? This guy here, you know, he goes to Utah and he's a Mormon, and his coach, he tells his coach he's going on a religious mission, you know, as most Mormon faith do. So he takes 2 years off of college, okay? Most people don't know who this is.
I know this. He transferred. Are you talking Dorless?
No,
who
I'm
is
not.
it? I've heard this. I've wrote this profile up. He transferred. Is it not on the board? Because I don't see who you're talking
It's
about.
It's not.
Okay.
I'm trying to go deeper. Dorless would be an excellent pick here, mind you.
But I was just going to say, I wrote this rookie profile this week, and I can't remember the name. And I said he literally waited out 2 years to go on his religious thing, and then he transferred when he came back. And I can't.
So here's part 2 that people don't know. Okay, so he gets back to school. He has his cleats and his helmet. He's ready to go. Coach is like, I can't use you. Can you play running back? He's like, I don't know. I guess. So he starts at running back. Guess what he does? 158 yards rushing against California. 2 touchdowns too. Utah's not a known school. California's a good school. So they try him out. They try him out again the next week against USC. He has 149 receiving yards. So 20 tackles. He on 42 carries, he breaks 20 tackles. So the reason I bring him up, considering how weak this running back class is, it's possible we might have a 2-way type player here. It's possible he might end up trying out for, who knows? But he's still a decent enough safety out of Utah. He's still a good enough safety that I'd consider him maybe my top, in the top 10, top 12-ish, whatever. But he has value as a hitter. And again, keep in mind, he only played a year at college. So the name is Sione, Sione Vaki, Vaki. And again, I just want to entertain the audience. If you have a deep punt out there, look for Sione Vaki just for the running back appeal too. He may be a kick return, who knows? But he's out there. It's just a fun name. It's a fun story.
Does he
He's
have another name? Because he's not the guy who I was thinking. Somebody else on that team did it. Oh no, you're right. This was a running back who was out of BYU and did it.
That's a different guy.
Yeah, that's what it was. Okay, so how do you spell that name and what position? I don't know who that is.
He's a defensive back, and it's Vaki, Vaki, and
what's the first name?
Sione's first name, Vaki, Vaki is the last name. Somebody in some league is going to think they're smarter than us, and they're going to try to play a safety at running back, a running back at safety, excuse me.
Okay, safety out of Utah, you said?
Yep.
That's amazing because that's not the story. I know that story, but that's not the player I was thinking. There was a running back who had that exact same story. And I said, why would he wait out his 2 years at BYU and then transfer to another damn school? But
there's some good players on your board that we didn't even pick up. There's a couple on here. I'm like, how did Doris fall? Marshawn Nealon. There's a lot of good. We could probably do another round.
Dorless was my second, would have been my next choice. I took Maurice Liufu, inside linebacker out of Notre Dame. That would be my last pick, but it was
Trevin Wallace is a sleeper to me too. I imagine him at the combine is going to blow up.
Yep. So we have, after defensive linemen going early and often, we are left with 3 defensive linemen, 1 linebacker, and 1 cornerback out of this board. To wrap it up, the 301 was Chris Jenkins, 302 Nate Wiggins, 303 Jonah Ellis, 304 Kool-Aid McKinstry, 305 Jaden Hicks, 306 Ennis Rakestraw Jr., 307 Tyron Hooper, 308 Kamari Lassiter, Jalen Ford at the 309, TJ Tampa at 310, Sion Vaca at 311, and Maurice Liufo at 312 to round out our 3-round rookie mock draft for the IDP guys. Thank you again, Steve, for joining me. We'll have to do this again. I know we're stepping up the I know the guys tomorrow are doing a regular 3-round rookie mock draft. I won't be there. I got to work. And then we're going to get another one of these going. But during the week, we're also going to do a 5-round overall IDP startup of actual veterans and a full 10-round startup for offense. So may get you in on those. If you want to do the one tomorrow, give me a shout. I'll get you into that. Before we head out, you want to take one more chance here? Tell everyone where they can find you.
Yeah, I'm on IDP, guys. I'm doing the mocks. I'm also on Fantasy Six Pack. I'm doing rookie profiles this whole week. And then I'll be over with Joe Pepe on the Dynasty Triple Play. We're going to be doing team-by-team analysis. And then always look for me over at IDP Hunter on Twitter. You could follow me, answer my questions. I do waiver and I do rankings during the season.
Well, that concludes our first IDP rookie mock draft of the year. Didn't think it would take nearly this long. It's just sorry. No, I mean 3 rounds. I didn't think normally on Sleeper they're on a time, so it just boom, boom, boom. But we had to do it the hard way, so it's nice.
You got stories on the way too, right?
Yeah, glad we got that one done. Though it's nice to have the first one out of the way. All right, check back tomorrow. Like I said, tomorrow we are live. I believe they're doing it at 2 p.m. for a 3-round rookie mock. I won't be there. I've got to work. I think I'm in the draft room, but I'm not on the stream. So check back tomorrow for that. For Aaron and Steve, thank you all for tuning into the Fantasy Football Universe. Head over to fantasyfootballuniverse.com if you'd like to see more of the stuff we've got going on, including the full write-up of this, which I will have to work on. It probably won't be up till later in the week because I have a couple of days of work. Look for this one probably to be posted on the site for Tuesday. Take care, everyone, and thank you for watching.